I'm getting a lot of notifications coming in right now. That's what you're hearing.
That's good.
Tom Ginn here, G Force. G is for gratitude. We are going live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you're at. G Force. G is for gratitude. I believe gratitude is one of the strongest principles we can incorporate in our lives because you can't hold a negative and a positive thought at the same time. No matter what the circumstances are, go to a place of gratitude and watch your life change right in front of you. I've applied these principles in my life, and it's made a big difference on how I move through my days with all the challenges and difficulties we all have. But gratitude is, I think, is what I call a spiritual doorway to peace, joy, and love. So if you apply these principles, I highly recommend you get the book by Robert A. Emmons, Gratitude Works. It's pretty deep workbook, but it really will give you a better perspective on gratitude. We take gratitude for granted in many cases, like many other things in our lives, but don't take gratitude lightly. It is a game changer for how you deal with everything that goes on with you. Today, I'm really excited and grateful to have somebody I've met in our Grow Live Academy through Ken Walls, Steve Rizzo. Steve has written many books, but his most recent book is a phenomenal book, Conversations with Bob. And I love Einstein. I love what it says here in the back on some of the acknowledgments. I once said, knowledge is limited, imagination and encircles the world. If we embrace the dialogue in this book as it was intended, your imagination, the truth it reveals will circle your world with empowerment, faith, laughter, and love. Dang, I wish the author had been around when I was alive, the conversation we could have had. So I believe that's an area that we've all lost, the ability for imaginations, because that's where our genius lies, and we all have genius within us. And Steve, your book is a demonstration of your genius, and I just want to let you know that. Very powerful book. I've read hundreds of books, but I'll put this right at the top of the list of any of the books I've ever read about improving your life and your thinking. So I just want to let you know.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. So today I'm honored to have you on. And I always like to start our conversation is about you, your story, where you started and where you are today, where you plan on going. And we'll talk about some of the principles in the book as we go through here today. So it's all yours, my friend.
Well, I started writing the book at the lowest point in my life. I think I'll start there. And it was after 34 years of marriage, a really good marriage. There was something within me saying that, I needed to leave. I had a calling to do something else. I didn't quite know what it was, but it was very difficult for me to do that. And I made the decision. I told my wife, I said, I just can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm being called to do something else. And took her by total surprise, took me by surprise, but it was one of those things that was building up for years and years and years. And it was just eventually I just said, I just can't do this. And it's funny because a lot of people say, well, gee, you had a failed marriage. And I say, no, I didn't. I had a very successful marriage for the length of time that it lasted. You can have a very successful marriage. You can have very successful relationships with people. That doesn't mean they have to last your entire lifetime. I have successful relationship with friends that I still call great friends. I haven't seen them in 20 years, 30 years, but they were successful relationships. The point is, there are a lot of changes taking place within me. I mean, hardcore spiritual changes. And I knew in order for me to get in tune with my authentic self, I needed to be on my own. Hard to put into words exactly what I'm going through, but I'm trying to be as simplistic as I can. And one morning I woke up because even though I told her that I'm leaving, we were still living in the same house. And one morning I woke up and said, I need to leave. I'm moving to California. I surprised myself when I even said that. I called some friends up. I have friends in every state in this country. And I called them up. I said, I need to move. Can you help me get a place? They got me a place in Marina Del Rey. I packed my stuff. I called the trucking service. They put my car on the trailer. They drove it to California. I took a flight and I stayed there for 2 years. And I had to do some searching about who Stephen Francis Rizzo really was. Very challenging. A lot of negative shit started coming up in my life. Being voted least likely to succeed in high school was one of the things. Being told by teachers I wasn't smart enough to go to college, thinking I had that stuff under control, but apparently I didn't. They came back to haunt me with a vengeance. So I went into a major depression, actually. And I'm I'm always very health conscious, as we were talking earlier off camera. And I go to the gym almost every single day. I have my entire life. And I was working out at one of the gyms near Venice Beach, a 24-hour gym, and I would walk on Venice Beach by myself, which isn't a safe thing to do at 5 o'clock in the morning. And one morning I was walking along the beach and I totally lost control. Tom, I mean, totally lost control. And I was screaming, cursing at God. And if anyone would have heard me with the anger and the frustration coming from me, they would have called 911 because I know what it's like to go out of your mind. I literally went out somewhere in my mind, just venting and cursing. And I sat in the sand as waves were partially hitting me, cursing at God. I was totally exhausted. After doing that, I started walking and I said to myself, what the hell am I doing here? And what is wrong with me? And I took another step and I heard something within me say, you know what's wrong and you know why you're here. You're just too caught up in your own drama to find the answer. And I said, where the hell is this coming from? And I took another step and another answer came. And I asked another question, then another answer came. And I kept walking, asking questions, and these answers are coming like that with no hesitation, just coming. And I realized that I was talking to a higher part of myself. I was talking to God. I knew I was. I got into my car. I drove back to my apartment in Marina Del Rey. I took up my laptop, took up my pen and pencil, and I started writing and typing because that's how I write. I do both. And I started asking other questions. More answers were coming. I must have did this for hours and hours. I was exhausted. I fell asleep. I must have slept for about 9, 10 hours. And when I woke up, I went back to see what I wrote. And without exaggeration, I don't remember writing 80% of the stuff that I was writing. It was coming from somewhere. Again, I'll say it now. I'm not ashamed to say it. The God part of me, a higher part of me, it was just channeling right through. And I continued doing it. And I was doing this for days. And one day, as I'm doing this, I'm going, whoa, I have a book here. And then my imagination set in. And then my sense of humor set in. And then my ability to communicate to an audience by the two things that I use as a personal development speaker to captivate my audience is the art of storytelling, which I do very well because I come from here, and my sense of humor. But I found another thing since writing this book, my vulnerability. And I wasn't ashamed to tell people that even though I was a personal development speaker, I was not walking my talk. I knew the strategies on how to turn people's lives around, but I had a hard time implementing them. Uh, and as you probably read in the book, on the forward of the book, I said, this is what I do for a living, and I don't take it lightly. You wouldn't want a lifeguard to save you that couldn't swim, you know? So I just started writing this book and I created two characters. One of the characters is named Bernie, and the other character is Bob. Bernie is me, and Bob is me. Bob is you, and Bernie is you. Bernie represents everyone on this planet who feels that their life isn't working on some level, whether regardless of race, creed, social status, or gender. Everyone experiences Bernie's negative emotions and thoughts and beliefs throughout various stages of their lives. No one is exempt. Bernie has a tendency to turn challenging times into emotional havoc and problems worse than what they have to be. And then we have Bob. Bob is God, or your higher nature, or your authentic self, or your true self, or the universe, or the light, or the force. It doesn't matter what you call it. My purpose is to let everyone know that there is a part of them that has solutions to their problems and answers to their questions. All they have to do is learn how to connect and communicate with this part of themselves. And Bob is the antidote to the negativity and firewall of fear that your inner Bernie insists is real. Now, as I said to you, Tom, and I know you got this by reading the book, Bernie isn't everyone. Everyone has an inner Bernie and an inner Bob. Our job and our responsibility throughout our entire lives, 24/7, 365 days a year, is to choose which one you're going to listen to. Bernie represents the big mouth inside your head, or as some people call it, the troublemaker, or some people call it the imposter. A lot of people call it the ego, but some people call it the devil, which might be a little melodramatic, but if you do listen to it, there will be hell to pay. That's the part of you that's always bringing negative shit from your past into the present, or keeps you worrying about what might happen in the future, totally keeping you from living in the moment. That's the part of you that will destroy you. That's the part of you when you're setting out to achieve a goal to get to where you want to go. You're investing money and everything's going fine. And all of a sudden, after 2 weeks, you hit a challenge and then you start going absolutely ballistic. I knew this was going to happen. Every time I try to do something, it never works. I always go 2 steps up, 5 steps back. Why is it that everybody else has what I want? Some people call this negative self talk. In the book, Bob calls it self curse talk because you're casting a spell on your life. So Bob is the antithesis to everything that your inner Bernie, that negative part of you says. And Bob shows Bernie in this book. I'm not going to tell you how they meet, folks. You're going to have to read the book yourself to find out. It's very humorous. It's very entertaining. But Bob reveals to Bernie what he calls common sense success strategies and shifting habits that will turn Bernie's life around. And this conversation in the book starts at the beginning when Bernie winds up in this place where he meets Bob, who is God, and he blames him for his life not working. He says, I prayed to you every day and you never answered my prayers. And here's Bob's response. I did answer your prayers, Bernie. I answered your prayers, but you pray with the same negative attitude you have about your life, and yet you expect a miracle. And Bernie goes, are you kidding me? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Isn't that your job? So Bob says to Bernie, hey, did you ever hear the saying, God helps those who help themselves? And Bernie says, yes, I heard it all my life. And Bob says, well, I guess you don't know what it means. It means you have to meet me halfway. You can't pray for peace of mind and then go in traffic and start cursing at everybody in traffic. You can't pray for success. And then when you set out to achieve that success and you hit a wall and you start berating yourself for how stupid you are and how you're never going to achieve anything because you're not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough, what do you expect? You expect a miracle. You have to meet me halfway. I could only do for you with what you're willing to do for yourself. When you do that, that seed possibility that I plant will start taking root and you will eventually manifest the things that you desire. And Bernie says, so what you're saying is that we're a team. He says, yes, we are. We have to work together. You do your part, and I always do mine, but you're not always doing yours. And that's how the conversation starts. And it continues like that.
You know, you said a lot in that short dialogue there is that responsibility. We got to take responsibility of our thinking. Most of us don't think. We have a lot of mental activity, but that's not thinking. And I think something my wife has taught me, she's done this for 20 years. She's on a retreat now, her 20th straight year that she does this for 10 days. She goes into the wilderness, she rents a cabin, no outside distraction, no cell phone, no nothing. And then she sits and just lets God speak to her. And then I'm a lucky man. I'm blessed to have one of the best women that's ever walked this world in my life. But every year I'm even more blessed. I get a new woman come in because she's transformed to a different being than when she left last week. So being still is a key. Be still and know. There's in Scripture, be still and know that I am
Yep.
God. It's such a
Yeah.
powerful thing. Most people don't take the time to really sit and listen. God is always speaking at us. He's speaking at us right now, but we've got a lot of things that's going on in our mental chatter that we don't hear. And I call that intuitive gift that we all have. We all know when we hear truth, right? We all know. And I believe skepticism is the gateway to truth. So it's okay to be skeptical, but truth will always stand up and speak itself if we are still and in a quiet place. I always encourage people when they're looking what they want in their life to do that evaluation. What do you really want? But most importantly, I ask them, what don't you want in your life? Eliminate that first, burn that up, remove it from your thoughts totally, and then you get clarity of what you really want. Uh, and I think where I talked about it here in the beginning, reading the quote there, the Einstein, the theory of relativity guy, um, is we all have that genius, that creativity, the imagination, and it's there. We just got to get rid of the noise in our life and
That's
sit
the
down.
that's the big mouth inside your head. That's
Yeah,
the thing that always keeps you back. That's what Bob keeps telling Bernie. It's that part of you that just talks you out of what you really want. You were stating before, you got to find out what it is you want and go for it. But just as important is you also got to find out what's keeping you back. And it's usually that's not usually, it's always that self-curse talk. It's the
yeah,
one that allows you to go 2 steps up and 3 steps back. Bob says to Bernie too, he goes, you're going to be confronted with challenges. That's why you're here on this planet. You're here. The life isn't supposed to be easy. You're supposed to be able to evolve. And the only way you can evolve is through your challenges. We're here on this planet to experience, to learn, to grow, and to become the best person that we can be. What I mean by that is that how you experience all of the things that happen to you in your life, the things that you label as good or bad, right, wrong, fair or unfair, will determine what you learn. That continued learning leads to your continued growth. That continued growth paves the way to who and what you are. Our job and our responsibility every day is to become the best person that we can be. And the only way that you can do that is to make sure that you're listening to your authentic self, your higher self, the Bob part of you, the God part of you. That's the voice that is silent. It sometimes lurks in the dark somewhere. But when you acknowledge it, it's way more powerful than the big mouth inside your head, than your ego, or as some people call the devil, because it's incredibly powerful and it can snap that other part of you right out of the way. But the point is that big mouth inside your head will always be there. You can't get rid of it.
no,
Our job is to keep it in the background. That's all. When it starts coming up, you have to become aware of what you're doing and what you're saying. And in that moment of awareness of that negative self-talk, the self-talk stops immediately because you're saying to yourself, whoa, what am I saying and what am I doing? Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Your subconscious is just stopping right there. And in that moment of clarity, what you're doing, the negative self-talk stops. And in that moment, you can start maybe even say to yourself, I'm doing it again. I am making this challenging situation worse than what it has to be. It's my thought process that's doing it. So as soon as you get into that space, then you could say, okay, what do I have to do to turn this around? You start shifting your way of thinking and what you're focusing on to things that are working in your life, to the things that empower you, and then you move on from there. It's a step-by-step process. Every time that happens to you, you become aware of it, it stops, and then you make another choice to go another way.
You know, I've been in the personal development business. I backed into it because my financial background as a financial coach, as I kept seeing the behavior get up in the way of people success financially. And that's biggest majority of people. Their relationship for abundance and relationship to financial success has been programmed that you're not worthy of. And so that's what got me into the personal development industry was that 20% of our success in life is knowledge, 80% is behavioral and belief systems. And so when I sought that out, how can I help my clients better understand their behaviors, their belief system around money or anything else? It doesn't make any difference what it is. The formula always the same. Everything operates by law. Our thinking, both positive and negative, is like physical laws. Gravity works the same way 100% of the time under the same circumstance, always the same result.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Same with our thinking. Is our thinking operates by law, and where people are frustrated in life is they haven't got the frequencies in alignment. You know, love has the highest vibrational frequency we have. Fear is down here. But guess what? If we can recognize that vibration, we put a label on it called emotions, and we make all our decisions at an emotional level. What are you emotionally attached to, positively or negatively? And I love what Glenn Morshower says is recognize your first thoughts. That tells you exactly what state you're in right at the moment. It dictates which direction your bus that you're driving is going. So that's through awareness, is understand how we think, understand that feelings are actually thoughts. And that's that chatter. That's that
Well, yeah,
Bernie talking, right?
that's it. That's it.
And we learn to say, shut up, Bernie. It's my turn to talk, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's basically what you're saying is what this book is about. This book is about the most important lesson that I have ever learned in my entire life. And trust me when I say I learned it the hard way. It's what truly successful, happy, optimistic people know about life. And I want your listeners to get this. They know without a doubt that they become what they think about day in and day out. They know this. They know that the thoughts that they have about any challenge in their life will ultimately determine the quality of success and happiness they're going to have in regards to that particular challenge. Contrary to what most people may think, and this is the biggest problem, it's not the situation, it's not the event, it's not the circumstance that takes place in our lives that will determine our quality of life. It's how we think about these things. Why? Because those thoughts have an incredible power to minimize or maximize the effect that the challenge has on you. And it's not your thoughts within themselves that gives them great power. It's what your thoughts create is what gives them great power. You see, your thoughts will eventually create the beliefs that you have about any challenge. As a matter of fact, the beliefs that you have about anything in your life are formulated over a period of time through a consistent way of thinking. The beliefs you have about race, religion, sex, the economy, the beliefs you have about your neighborhood, the beliefs you have about your family, the beliefs you have about the people that you work with, the beliefs that you formulated about me in the short time that you've heard me talking are formulated through a consistent way of thinking. Okay, so your thoughts create your beliefs. What beliefs really are, it's just a conglomeration of thoughts that finally solidified into a belief system. Now, guess what? Your beliefs write the story of your life. And this is why they do that. Because those thoughts that just created the belief will cause you to feel a certain way. A certain way. And so if you're walking through with negative self-talk, curse talk your entire life, and they're solidifying this already negative belief system, that's why most people go through the course of a day not feeling good. And the scary thing, Tom, is they're not aware of what they're doing to themselves. Now, those feelings will give them the particular attitude that they have throughout the day. and they feed off of each other. See, so when you're walking through and you're not feeling good, you automatically have a bad attitude. And because you have that bad attitude, you're feeling worse. And when you're feeling worse, you're inviting more like thoughts to come into play, intensifying the belief system, causing you to feel even worse. And this reaction, your thoughts create your beliefs, beliefs create your feelings, the feelings lead to the attitude. All of this will lead to an action that you take. The actions that you take always lead you to a particular outcome. That's what determines those who succeed and those who fail. From those who are overall happy most of the time to those who are miserable most of the time. And it all starts with your thoughts. And this is what Bob is trying to tell Bernie throughout the entire book. You are the creator of your success and happiness, and you create through how you think. And he also tells him principle number 2, you are the only problem that you'll ever have. Somewhere within you, there is always a solution waiting to be discovered. We just have to learn how to get out of our way, to be still, and to allow the solution to reveal itself. And the third principle in this book that he tells Bernie is that whenever you're confronted with a challenge or a problem of any kind, it's never a matter of managing the situation. It's always about how you manage your mind. Can you manage your mind in those toxic thoughts and beliefs that are the very thing that are keeping you from finding the solution that's waiting to be discovered?
You know, you're saying a lot, and I just want to interject some things here.
Sure.
And maybe you can expand on it. Is we hear from a lot of influencers or people coaching people what it takes to win, and you put win whatever you want, what success is. I believe Sandy Gallagher said it better than anything else. Most people have gotten success definition wrong. It's not the outcome that demonstrates the success. It's who you become along the way is how you value success.
Yep.
If you want something bigger than yourself, something you've never done before, you got to change. And that's the measuring. Have I changed from what I did yesterday? Have I changed my thinking? If I have, I'm winning. I have success, because ultimately that compounds, and eventually it's your thinking that's going to get you to where you desire to go.
Yeah.
It's
the journey towards the goal. You got it, Tom. You nailed it.
Who you become.
Yeah, it's who you become. It's because it's the journey that you're sending, the journey towards the goal. You're sending a message to the entire universe and yourself that you're willing and able to meet any challenge head on. But there's a problem in this country, and this is one of the main reasons why. And this is noted in the book too, chapter 9, when he tells Bernie the importance of enjoying yourself during the process of whatever it is you're trying to achieve. We have a mindset in this country where the goal is the most important part. And people are saying to themselves unconsciously, I'll be happy when I achieve this status. I'll be happy when I achieve the goal, not realizing that the whole time they're putting their happiness on hold, because your subconscious runs 95% of your life. I call your subconscious the genie of your soul. So if you're telling your subconscious day in and day out, I'll be happy when I get there, I'll be happy, your subconscious is going, this is the genie of your soul speaking, saying, okay, I could wait. Now, what happens if it takes you 5 or 10 years to get to where you want to go? That's why people aren't enjoying themselves during the process, because they've already told themselves they won't be happy until they get there. And then some people say, well, won't I be happy when I finally get there? No, because that same mindset will stay with you. And then once you achieve what you thought was going to make you happy, you'll have temporary happiness. And then all of a sudden, that subconscious that runs 95% of your life will click into gear again and say, okay, what else am I going to need in order for me to make me happy? Never realizing that happiness is right there in front of you. You're just focusing on the wrong stuff.
Yeah. You said a mouthful there again. I'm going to be talking to you. I told you I'm going to be writing a book called In and Around Gestation.
Yeah.
And the vision, I have a big vision, and that doesn't happen overnight. And we get frustrated. A lot of coaches, a lot of influencers out there talking about, what do you want? It really comes down to what in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, what do you really desire? That emotional attachment. What do you desire? It's the desire that moves you. it's not what you want. When I met my wife, I'll share this story with you. I had my own financial services company. My business partner and I were going to a licensing course for real estate. In California, you have to have a real estate license to deal with mortgages or anything in and around money. So I was getting prepped for real estate licensing. And so my business partner, Pete, says, I've been single for 9 years at that point in my life. And I thought, hey, you never used the word never get married again. So Pete says to me, hey, Tom, it's a good place to meet some women. And I said, Pete, I says, you know what? All these women here are probably married. And Kathy, which is my wife, she's sitting in the row right before me. She looked up, put her left hand up, no ring on the finger, right? And so that's, so it didn't, from that point on, that intrigued me. But it wasn't that I wanted to have conversation. If you really think about it, it's usually some level of desire that causes you to move forward. Because I could have gone through the mental thing. She's going to reject me. All this self-talk that we have, that Bernie saying, all that stuff. She's going to reject you. Why even do it? But I had a desire to know more about her because she was pretty bold to say, hey, I'm not married, so, hey, I'm available. So I took that as a sign, or that communication.
Oh,
but
you think?
If I just wanted to get to know her, I would never taken that step. You evaluate everything you do. You measure it against the desire. I can look at every area of my life. I do a work thing with my clients to evaluate all the good things that have happened, their successes, all their failures, and then we baseline that, and then we go through a process of what was your level of desire. And guess what? Once they saw it, you just apply that principle over and over again. We get that feeling, that neurochemistry that goes on, that we keep doing the same. Why do we do the same behaviors? Because we're getting a neurochemistry feedback that keeps us in that state that it's addictive. And we stay in that state and we keep doing the same behavior to get the neurochemistry that we want.
Yes. That's what the big mouth inside your head does to you.
Yep. So what are your thoughts about goals? And I'm one that goals don't work. I'm a big vision person. If you listen to anybody that's doing anything significant in the world or in their lives, they never talk about their goals. They really talk about their vision and their purpose. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I got to tell you, this might, a lot of people might disagree with me, but I'm at a place now. Well, I've never been happier. I sold my big house. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm living in a place where I'm just so at peace with myself. And my business strategy, the past 5 years of my life, I have goals, but I'm not married to them. And I guess the best way to word it is that I'm running my life personally and professionally more on inspiration rather than ambition. There were points in my life where I couldn't even sit still or relax because I kept thinking, I got to be doing something, because something was telling me you're being lazy. You should be doing this. I spend days doing nothing as far as my business goes. I just put the energy out there. I do what needs to be done. The processes, I have a team that works with me and for me. I'm blessed with a great team, but I don't go crazy anymore. I just put an image out there, a vision out there. I know I'm going to get it eventually. I do what needs to be done, but I don't overdo. I don't beat it to death. I work more on inspiration rather than ambition, and I spend more time by myself recharging my inner battery. So when I do want to work, I love what I do and I'm enjoying it. I think today the biggest sin that people commit on themselves is that they get so caught up in trying to make a living that they actually forget what it's like to live. They're negating sacred parts of themselves. And I mean sacred. I mean, I've got stories from people. I interview people all the time. They're going to be in other books where people they have all the money in the world. As a matter of fact, book 2, Conversations with Bob, there's a story about a guy who's in his early 30s. He's salesman of the year for 3 years, and he's got everything he wants. But he goes, people might say I'm successful, and I could say yes, but I'm not fulfilled. He said something's missing, And what was missing, Tom, were those sacred things. For example, he loved getting up early in the morning and appreciating something simple like a sunrise where he prayed and he meditated. He stopped doing that unknowingly because his ambition took control. Well, now that I'm salesman of the year, I got to keep that status going. So he got up even earlier to make sure that he had everything in line for the people he was going to call. He never took weekends off, which he used to do. He used to promise himself that he wouldn't work on weekends. He needed that time to himself. He stopped doing it. He stopped taking these casual little mini vacations with his wife, which was interfering with his marriage because he got so caught up in his job that he forgot the stuff that was nourishing his soul. And it came back to haunt him big time. And when he finally realized what he was doing, he came to the realization, he said, I really didn't have to do all that. I just thought I had to do that because I didn't want to lose this egoic status that he had as being the best of the best. And it took control of his life. And in the book, when he comes to the realization, he didn't have to give really anything up. He just had to shift his priorities just a little bit because he got carried away with them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. It sort of goes to
Yeah.
what the comment I want to make is that it goes back to what Glenn Morshower is. When we set goals, we're telling our subconscious we don't have it yet, and that's in direct conflict of. But when you have a vision, you tell you already obtained it before the reality. It's
And
in your
that's what
mind.
Bob said. That's it. And that's what Bob says to Bernie in the book. You're 100% right. Don't ask for what you don't want it. Go through it after you pray, as you're praying, that you already have it. It's in a vortex. What you desire, it's already there. And feel that emotion. Feel that emotion that whatever it is, a new car or that you're going to be financially secure. What would that feel like to you? And get into that feeling, get into that realm, how exciting that is. Do that every day. Do that every day and take the proper steps. You don't have to overdo because when you overdo, you're pushing. And by pushing, you're negating what you said you already have because something inside of you saying it's not here yet. And as soon as you start saying it's not here yet, the law of attraction starts going against the grain now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I totally understand what you're saying. Hopefully our audience does. That's where self-development work, reading books, aligning with people that have a journey that they can relate that journey to help you grow is I always tell people I can get you to where I'm at. If you want to go someplace that I've never been, I'm not the person, but I can get you to where I'm at. And that's where my success has been in my coaching and mentoring.
Good for you.
And then I said, hey, I know the right person that can take you to that next level. As I grow, hopefully you'll grow with me. That's my mission is let's take this life on together.
I love that. That's a great mission. That's a great mission. As I grow, you grow we'll grow with each other.
Exactly. Can't do this thing called life by yourself. I don't believe it.
And you hit on another topic. I mean, you got to do your own research. You got to do your own reading. There's so many YouTube clips that you folks could look at. One of the biggest compliments I got from this book is that people take this book because they like the way it looks without the cover. You can see the way it looks without the cover. They take it. They have it by their nightstand. This blew me away. And before they go to sleep, they read one of the high points to remember at the end of the chapters. And when they wake up in the morning, they do the same thing. They'll read a paragraph or two. They just open up the book to any page that it opens up to and they read it. You don't have to do it with this book, but I'm just saying what some people do. That's how you reinforce this belief that what you want is already there. You just have to know it's there, do what needs to be done, and in time, it will manifest. You got to be aware of the big mouth inside your head, though.
Yeah. I'm going to share this with you. I like to give credit where credit's due. Been blessed to have great relationships with some great mentors, such as Bob Proctor. We actually became friends. I've been in his home. He knows me better than I know myself. When I first met him, he even knew me. It just in the conversations he had with me. He hit every time he swung the hammer, it was hitting the nail. So I've been blessed to have that type of relationship. I encourage people to find that person It doesn't have to be a big name person. A lot of times we get hung up on influencers and names and that. Yes, most of them have great stories, great methodologies to help you. But it could be your neighbor, it could be your grandfather, it could be an aunt or an uncle, it could be your child. Never discount what your child wisdom comes out of their mouth, because it's profound if you really listen.
Yeah.
So seek out people that have the heart of servants, that are inspirational, have use their story to build yours, because just having concrete in a pile without water, it nothing happens.
Yeah.
So find that source of water, that other person, build the mortar between your bricks, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I want to plant this out there. One of the greatest things I've read, and I'll put your book right alongside of it, is The Power of Vision by Dr. Miles Monroe. It's the vision, the power of your vision, what you create in your mind. Nothing gets in the way when you're clear on your purpose in life. The challenges that we're all going to have, we're all going to have them. There isn't anybody I've never met hasn't had some sort of challenge that could be a stumbling block, but the vision carried them through. Most people, when they're stuck on the goal itself, just the outcome, the first obstacle, most people either quit or they downsize what they really want, and they settle. Most people are in settling modes in life. And then this is what I'm capable of doing, so I will accept that. I'm settling for X.
Yeah.
You're capable of doing more than you can imagine. You have infinite potential. Human beings can't comprehend infinite supply. God gives us infinite supply of everything we need, from love to the resources and the people. But we block it ourselves in our own thinking. Everything we need is right in front of us right now. It's only through awareness and changing your thinking, then you start seeing things. They start showing it. The people show up, the opportunities show up, the solutions show up. Everything that you're looking is already there. It's already been created. Now you just learn to co-create with a higher power. Because Tom Ginn hasn't created anything. I've just co-created what God has already given me. He's given me the bricks, and I've just gone out and found the mortar. That's all I've done in my life. So you're a great inspiration, Steve. I'm glad that to know you. I'm going to lean into a little bit about what you're talking about, with my book, the Don't Expect Things Overnight. Everything takes a process. Everything operates by law. Our thinking operates by law. If it's anything, this is where people feel frustrated, anxious, angry, whatever. It's something in their thinking process out of order. Everything has an order. In chemistry, you change one molecule, changes the outcome the same way all the time. Same thing with our thinking. You change one element you're thinking, you'll get that same result. So if we expect different results, we can't, whatever we put out in the universe in our thinking and our energy, it's nothing more than energy. Einstein says this, theory of relativity, it gets replaced with exactly like same energy. People wonder why nothing changes. You got to change your thinking to change your results.
That's right.
Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And when you do that, because your energy goes out, it gets replaced with like energy. You can't put something out negative and expect something positive to fill in.
Like attracts like.
Huh?
Yeah. Like attracts like. The more you focus on your lack, the more of that you're going to get back.
Exactly.
The more you think about how your life isn't working, the more your life won't work.
So, Steve, where can people get your book?
You can get it at yourinnerbob.com, yourinnerbob.com, or you can just go to steverizzo.com on my website, and it's right there on the homepage. Just scroll down a little bit and order it. It's on Amazon. It's getting great reviews. I only ask that if you purchase it and you like it, I'm pretty sure you will, just give a review on Amazon. I would appreciate it. My mission for the rest of my life is to get the message out that's in this book. And book 2 is halfway finished. So I thank you for having me on your show, Tom. I really appreciate it. And let me leave you with this. If there's anything I can do for you anytime in writing your book or whatever, just don't hesitate. You got my contact information.
You got it. I appreciate that offer. more than you know. So thank you much.
Absolutely. Okay, man.
All right. Enjoy your day. God bless you. And we'll be talking real soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I really appreciate you. And thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right.
Take
See
care, buddy.
everybody.
Yep.
That's Steve Rizzo. A delight to talk to. And he's one of those people that if you just sat down with a cup of coffee thinking you're going to be there for a half hour, you wonder what happened to 4 hours later. That much can be exchanged with him. He's got great wisdom, great insight. I highly encourage you to get his book. It is a magnificent book. Like I said, I put at the top of any of the books I've influenced me, and his is right up there. So the answers are there. Listen to your Bob. We all have one. Let Bernie burn. Create a burning bowl. Take all those negative thoughts, write them on a piece of paper, put them in a bowl, set them on fire, and let go of them. And then you'll never entertain those thoughts again. That's a process that you can take control of. So today, gratitude, I believe, is one of the most powerful principles that we can incorporate, because you can't occupy a negative and a positive thought at the same time. Everything in life has something positive we can focus on. Whether we lost a loved one to a death, or we had some sort of tragedy that we experience, and whether it be something by the weather or environment, where the case may be, what are we grateful for at this moment? This is the most important moment of my life right now. The time I had just a moment ago with Steve was the most important moment of my life, and I recognize that. I'm grateful for that. So with that all said, everybody, have a blessed day. We'll catch you on the next G-Force. G is for gratitude.